Hi everyone! So I'm a little bit nervous about doing this video. There's a part of me that thinks, do I want to do it? Do I want to share this? Do I really want to put this all out there? But the ironic thing is, the reason I want to make this video is because of, I guess, the stigma of mental health, and I want to support this new initiative called IAMWHOLE, which is basically letting people, especially young people, know that there shouldn't be a stigma about mental health issues and that lots of people have them, and it doesn't mean you're crazy, it doesn't mean you're mental, you know, it just can be, you can maybe just be having a really hard time. Sorry if I'm blabbering already, I don't even really know where this is going to go, but I just wanted to share my mental health story and a little bit about, you know, things that have affected me. Really, my biggest issue is more anxiety rather than anything else. I have been diagnosed with depression in the past a few times. I've been diagnosed with postnatal depression after both of my pregnancies, after having both my girls. Although I think partly that was down to lack of sleep. I mean, if anyone hasn't slept in 8 months, I think anyone would be feeling depressed. So I do think there can sometimes be a root cause, and I think it's always good to try and get to the bottom of that root cause. And then something that has affected me my whole life, and which is more than just a circumstantial thing, it's more just something that's within me, and that is anxiety, and the fact that I do struggle really badly and suffer really badly with anxiety to a point where I have panic attacks. And I used to think I had asthma because I used to just get such a tight chest and didn't really understand why, but it was actually anxiety, and even little things can just you know, make me get really anxious and make my chest tighten up. So that's something, I guess, a bigger issue to deal with. And I think a lot of people don't really get or understand, or would never imagine that I would have anxiety, because I seem like really confident. I used to be a TV presenter. I, you know, used to be a dancer. I could get up on a stage and perform. But yet little things can make me freak out. And it sometimes doesn't really make any sense, but it's just kind of me and who I am. And it is something that I really struggle with. I don't think though that I'm mental. I think, yes, it's an issue I need to deal with, but I think probably all people out there have some sort of issue. Some people get angry. You know, I'm the sort of person that cries because I get really upset and I get nervous. I push myself too far to try and keep everyone happy. And yeah, it is something that I kind of have to learn to deal with every day, and I've had cognitive behavioral therapy to try and help me kind of retrain my thoughts, so that instead of thinking the worst outcome all the time, I try and see it in like little steps and take those little steps, rather than seeing this massive big picture and freaking out a little bit and imagining the worst that can happen. And in fact, the therapist I saw said to me to always remember the little saying, you know, like, Dr. Pepper, what's the worst that can happen? And that is literally now what I always try and remember. It is like, what is the worst that can happen, really? You know, if I have a deadline to meet and I miss it by half an hour, you know, is someone going to die? No. Will I be able to, you know, hopefully get a bit of an extension if I speak to someone, and, you know, things like that. The reality is usually that it's never as bad as you imagine. But in terms of mental health generally, first of all, you're not alone. You know, if you suffer from a mental health issue, there are so many people out there that do. And sometimes it can just be a circumstantial thing. It can be that somebody's done something to you, or something's happened, or you've lost a close person, or you've lost your job, or something that's happened to you outside of your control. And everyone will have times that life can just be a bit crap and you feel a bit rubbish. And you know, that is totally okay to feel a bit crap and to cry and feel a bit down. I'm a real believer in crying. I think it's really good to cry, to get it all out, release that emotion, and, you know, take some time on your own if you'd rather cry on your own, or phone up a friend and, you know, cry on their shoulder. I really think that, you know, letting it out is a really good idea. And I also want to say, if you do suffer from any sort of mental health, whether it's depression or anxiety, do go and speak to someone, go and speak to the doctors. They have always been amazing with me. Sometimes it's not that you have long-term depression or anything like that. It's just maybe you'll need something for the short term. I was put on antidepressants a couple of months ago because I was really down through lack of sleep, and it was really affecting me, and I was getting really stressed out. And I went to the doctor because I was a complete mess. I had a complete breakdown one day in the middle of a park, and I couldn't stop crying. I was hyperventilating, and my family said to me, look, you really should go and speak to someone. So I went to the doctor, and she was so lovely and put me on antidepressants. And I was really nervous about taking them because, you know, you feel like, oh, I don't want to take these, but actually they really helped me in the short term. I only took them for a short time because it's like any sort of medicine. If you're sick, you take a medicine to make you better, and antidepressants are the same. If you're not well, they can help you in the short term. You may need them for longer, but for me, I just took them for a short time to get me over a bad period, and then, as in a period of time, once I was feeling a bit better, I made a few changes to things that were happening in my life, because personally I feel like you also probably need to make changes in your everyday life. It's not enough just to take a tablet. I do think a lot of times circumstantial things can really impact you. If you're in a job that it makes you so miserable, try and find a new job. If you're in a relationship that makes you so miserable, you know, maybe it's the wrong relationship for you. I do think you've got to try and work out sometimes what things are making you depressed or what things are making you anxious, and see if there's any way that you can make those better. But in terms of the stigma, do not feel you're alone. There are so many people out there. Go to the doctor. They're not going to look at you like you're crazy. You know, speak to friends and family, because they'll often understand, and you'll be amazed at how many other people are going through things and struggling as well. In a way, I actually think by going and seeking help, it shows your strength. That shows that you can say, yeah, I'm a bit down at the moment. I have a few issues at the moment that I'd like to talk to someone about, or I'm going to seek some help. And yeah, it takes a lot of strength to go and seek help. So I think it's a really positive thing. And you're human as well. Nobody's life is perfect. We all have tough times. And if you can show to someone, I've had a tough time, but I addressed it in the right way. I went and I saw a doctor, or I went and I spoke to a counsellor, and I got some help. That to me shows that you have the strength to go and deal with a hard time, and that is better than bubbling it all up when it can come out in other more negative ways. If you do want to get in touch with me, please leave any comments below. If you want to support the I Am Whole campaign as well, then there's a thing on Twitter and Instagram where it's just take a photograph of yourself with a circle on your hand, and yeah, with the hashtag I Am Whole. I think it's a great campaign, and yeah, hopefully we will beat the stigma of mental health, because there shouldn't be one. Hope anyway this video's helped a little bit, and yeah, I'll be back with another video very soon. Bye.